All right, guys, we got our next guest on the line. Isn't his first time here on ATG Radio. Definitely not a stranger, but it's been a while since we had him on here. But we're always pleased to have him on here. One of the elite promoters. You can't even say it new. This guy's been taking over out there in the UK, putting on some of the best shows. He's the CEO of Coldwell Boxing. I would hope he'd be the CEO. It's named after him. He's also
That's right.
The CEO of the awesome state-of-the-art, first of its kind Coldwell Television app. You can get it on all the smartphones right now. I know we'll discuss where you can find it. I have it on my iPhone, my iPad. Badass, great fights. Great fighters this guy promotes, and he's a great promoter. And sooner or later, I give him about a year before he's on top of the world. Run for their money. The Eddie Hearns, the Frank Warrens, and whoever else is over there. Right now, the only person that matters is our main man, David Coldwell. David, how you doing tonight? Welcome back to the show.
I'm very good, thanks, mate. How are you?
We're doing good, man. Hey, the last time we had you on the show, we had a magnificent chat about boxing. We know you got a ton of stuff going on with you, but the one thing is talking boxing with David Coldwell. We were looking forward to doing it again. Past couple of weeks, we've had some great fights. They know that we can follow you on Twitter, and you've been giving your thoughts and stuff. We've had a lot of happening. Now it's kind of slowing down. I know this weekend we got some, it's going to boom up again. But as far as this, what is up next with Coldwell Boxing? What event do you have coming up in the near future?
Well, we have a show in Sheffield with Curtis Woodhouse. He's fighting. He's dropping down to lightweight. This is this Friday. Also, we have Nav Mansouri, who's one of our good prospects. He's fighting for the English title as well on the same bill. Also, another good prospect that we have, Chad Gaynor. He's also on the same bill. So we got a good bill going on there on Friday. That's this Friday at Sheffield.
And you mentioned it, big city, lights out. And that's the one thing I like about you guys, Coldwell Boxing. You guys have the little themes to it. We try to do the themes on our radio show, not in the same capacity. But, you mentioned like this, Nav Mansouri, some of these young prospects coming up, Chad Gaynor, very exciting fighters. But Curtis Woodhouse headlining it. I think everybody remembers a couple months back he had his little popular incident that happened on there. I mean, how was that for you? I mean, how is that for you as a promoter to get that type of press for a fighter where, everybody
that was just nuts.
It?
Yeah, it was just nuts. I mean, for 48 hours after that occurred, everything to do with Coldwell Boxing had to stop because I was that busy fielding phone calls, making appointments, booking slots for Curtis on radio, television, everything. We'd got him on American radio, Australian, Canadian, all over the world. It was just crazy. It really was.
How do you let me ask you this, how do you manage Curtis Woodhouse? I mean, honestly, Dave, we're not going to beat around the bushes. We're not going to BS on here. Obviously, former football player, a sensational football player. Obviously, left a lot of his, athleticism on the field, on the football field. He comes over to boxing, and he's doing it. He's boxing. He's doing a little extra outside of boxing. Hasn't had the greatest success, but what do you see as far as not making him like a household name as far as a celebrity, but how do you as a promoter get Curtis Woodhouse, the magnificent athlete, be at the top of his game as a professional boxer?
You see, the thing about Curtis, I mean, it's well documented. When he first started out, he was seen as a bit of a gimmick. Nobody took him seriously. They just thought it was, a footballer thinking he's going to be a boxer. As soon as he gets beat, he'll go running back to football. Well, Curtis is made of stronger stuff than that. One thing that you need in boxing is dedication and determination, and this guy's got that in full. He's one of the most determined and dedicated guys I've ever met, and he's got such a yearning to learn about the game and to learn in order to get better. Now, we always said that he would never be a Rocky Marciano, get to 49-0. We always said that there'd be bumps in the road and he would suffer defeats. But as long as he's learning from them and it makes him a better fighter, we don't care. Well, he's an entertaining fighter, he's an exciting fighter. So his marketability is the fact that he's entertaining. One of his heroes is, and mine as well, is Arturo Gatti. Now Gatti went through a phase where, I think he lost 3 fights on the trot, but did people stop watching him box? Did people, stop wanting him to fight? No, because when you tuned in or when you bought a ticket to watch Arturo Gatti, you knew that he was going to be entertained. You knew it was going to be an exciting fight. But most importantly, you knew that the guy was going to give 100% in order to try and win. Now, Curtis is cut from the same sort of cloth. He may never become a world champion like Gatti, but at domestic level in Britain and, hopefully Commonwealth level, he's a guy that for a fact, whoever gets in that ring with, he will give 100%. He will go out there trying to knock him out, and he will go out there trying to entertain the fans. Now, people want to see that sort of fighter. So in that respect, he's an easy fighter to manage and an easy fighter to promote. You just have to make sure that, which we have done, is make sure that you map out the right fights for him to bring on his education. So it's been a fun ride with Curtis, and it'll continue to do so until the day when I see in him that he's having too many wars, maybe he's getting hit more than what he should be getting, and then then I'll tell him that I think it's time to call it a day. That's something I'm not afraid of doing. When he won the English title, the fight, he looked a little bit jaded, a little lethargic, but he won the fight. I straight away I said to him, you need to have 6 months out of the game. I want you to have a rest. And he looked at me like I had 2 heads. Mm-hmm. He was like, well, what are you talking about? He said, I've just won the English title. I said, well, I'm not bothered. I think, your body needs a rest. You've had a couple of hard fights back to back. It's the hard training and training camps that you've been going through. I just think your body needs a rest. And so he had a rest, and then he came back better than ever, and he feels strong in himself and sharp and everything. It's refreshed him. And I think fighters like that go out there to entertain and take more punches than others, you need to know when to be able to give them a rest.
And I'm going to tell you like this, Dave. We've spoken on this before. And this is coming from myself. It's coming from Frank Staya. You're not a promoter like Frank Warren who will build up his fighters and make them fight. And I'm not disrespecting any fighters anywhere, but, you build up some of the guys. Ricky Burns has fought some great fighters, but is also in the public's and the critics' eyes, before he went obviously over to Eddie Hearn, has fought some turds. I put it in that way. You had, and I remember this fight, you had Frankie Gavin, who, as of right now, in my opinion, one of the, the top guys at welterweight over in the UK, top prospect coming up. Yeah. This guy went toe-to-toe with him for 12 rounds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of people, and Frankie's been on the show before. I consider, I don't want to go and jump the gun and say Frankie Gavin will be a world champion, but Frankie Gavin within the next year will fight for a world title. I don't know if he'll win it or not, but the kid's that good. You got a footballer in Curtis Woodhouse going 12 rounds with a potential future world champion. That tells you something, but that also speaks volumes on you. You're, in my opinion, you're like Floyd Mayweather as a promoter. Floyd Mayweather has a lot of talented guys, just like you do, Dave. The thing is he don't beat around the bushes with his guys. He throws his guys in there with guys that can possibly beat them. You know what I'm saying? Why waste any time? See if your guys got the goods now. As so far up to this point, because I see the fights you match up. You throw your top prospects in there with guys that are on that same level. Has that worked out for you as a promoter up to this point? Matching such great matches. There's different ways you can look at it. You can look at it, well, have you got an unbeaten stable where none of your guys have been beaten and they're all winning every single fight and winning every single round? No, I haven't. But have I got a stable that, number one, is full of talent that are learning on each fight by fight, and number two, entertaining the crowd, because when they fight, the guys that they're selling tickets to, the guys that are tuning in on the app, are they entertained? Yes, I have. I look at it long term. There's no point in building a fighter up, building a young prospect up, fighting, getting to 10, 15-0, fighting absolutely nobody. It's the guys that are just coming
to put their hands up and hopefully maybe make it through to the end of the fight, because they're not going to learn anything like that. You know, you only learn from being asked questions and from having somebody in front of you that's trying to hit your back. You know, otherwise you might as well just stick them on a bag and just pay somebody for hitting a bag every day. For me, you know, I like to bring my fighters on an education, and I'm not afraid of my fighters getting beat as long as they learn from it. Listen, I don't want my guy to go in there and get blasted. I'll never put them in a fight where I think they're overly matched. If I think that a fight is 60-40 in the other guy's favour, I'm not afraid of making that sort of match if the reward is worth the risk. You know, and when it comes to the home fights, when I'm fetching an opponent for my guys, then I like there to be a bit of a chance of, you know, yeah, my guy could get beat if he doesn't perform right, and you know, if he doesn't perform to the best ability, then yeah, he'll get beat. Because this boxing, you're not going to win world titles, and you're not going to win British, European, Commonwealth titles by not improving fight by fight. You know, you're not going to win these titles by not learning anything in the ring. Sparring's fantastic, but it's totally different to having these questions asked when you're in fight. Listen, this weekend's case in point, right? Gonzalez, he was winning the fight against Ricky Burns. He was beating him, and there's no doubt about that. He was beating him, but he'd never been in deep before. Every guy that he's been in with and he's hit on the chin, they've thought, wow, this guy can punch, and backed off and you know, either they've been stopped or they've got through the fight, but nobody's come close to beating him. You know, then all of a sudden, round 7 he hurts Ricky Burns, which he hurts everybody when he fights, and he just thinks, right, this is it. I'm going to finish this guy just like I do in every single fight. He's emptied his locker in that 7th round. He's thrown everything out Ricky Burns that round. And what's Ricky Burns done? He's stuck with it. He's gritted his teeth. He's given it him back. And then the next round, he's a stronger, he's a fresher, and he started putting it on the guy. And he didn't want to know. You know, he can say about his hand. He can say what he wants with his hand. But I'm not being funny. How many fighters break the hand in a fight and carry on? And they're the guys that are losing. If you're winning a fight, you've only got a couple more rounds to go to a world title, you hang in there with one hand. But this guy's never fought anybody when he's coming through, and this is the case in point. If you've not fought people on the way through, if you've not been hit back on the way through, when you have your big test at world level, 9 times out of 10 you're going to fail it, because the other guy's going to be in your back. The other guy's going to want it as much as you, and the other guy's going to be prepared to come through what you're going to give him. You know, and this is what I like my guys to know early on, that boxing, you know, you're going to fight guys who are going to hit your back. There's going to be times when you might lose a round, you might lose 2 rounds, you might have to come back to your corner and readjust and change your game plan, change things up, and then go back out there and put it into place, hopefully trying to swing the fight your way. And if you can do that and figure that out, and you're used to that early doors, then it prepares you for, you know, please God, you become good enough to fight for a major title. When you get in that major title and you're fighting a good champion, you're more equipped to beat him. That's just my belief anyway.
You know what though, Dave? Your logic is what makes you one of the best promoters anywhere, man. Because of the way you're just going out there, you're taking a risk with your back. You know, everything that you've accomplished up to the point of until becoming a full-fledged promoter, and you're doing something different, man. And I like it, and I like how Coldwell Boxing is building up. I like how you do your thing. You're accessible to the boxing fans all over the world. You're accessible to us, which is most importantly, obviously. But you're doing it, and that's why, like, 100% myself and the ATG crew were behind you on this. You know, you see something good, you see something on the verge of making, you know, something happen in boxing, and you're doing it, man. You're putting on marvelous fights. I got to ask you this, too, and this is a question that I've actually, the last time you were on the show, somebody wanted me to ask you this. And we're not sure. We're not sure it goes on, you know, every day over there. But, you know, obviously, it's no secret, Haymaker Boxing, you were the head of Haymaker Boxing. Yeah. We don't know what happened to that. You know, David Haye, one of the most popular fighters, former world heavyweight champion. Did you guys just go your separate ways, or was there some type of animosity that driven you guys apart?
No. What happened was before I took the Haymaker job, I had already promoted 30 shows, 30 boxing events before I got the Haymaker job. I got the Haymaker gig because of what I'd done on a small budget, and they knew that I could put shows together. So that's why I got the gig. Now, if you remember when David got beat by Vladimir Klitschko, he retired. When he retired, that's it. There's no more Haymaker. So I went back to Coldwell Boxing. I ended up, we went to another level. I teamed up with a good friend of mine, and he brought him in as a business partner, Spencer Fern, who's got a good background in education and football, and he's a great businessman. So we teamed up, and we decided to push Coldwell Boxing to another level and see how far we can take this business. And so things have took off. We're so busy. So I've just got to concentrate on my own thing because, it's happened before where I put all my eggs in somebody else's basket and it comes to an end. This way, this is my baby. Coldwell Boxing. I want to take that to, developing world champions and putting on world title shows one day, and that's what we want to do.
No offense to David Hay. Coldwell Boxing by far has blown away whatever Haymaker Promotions has done. Besides, obviously, his co-promotions on, like the other cards on the other events and stuff like that. He did big. Obviously, he's done big co-promotional events because of the mega star that he is. But, Coldwell Boxing, proven the test of time. You guys are running shows, 2 times a month, basically. But let me ask you, my thoughts on this. David Hay making a comeback again. Obviously you work with him. Manuel Char. In your opinion, do you see David at this point, the Klitschkos are winding down? I mean, I don't think any of us really give a damn about their, the riffs back and forth with him and Vitaly. But does David pose a threat to the Klitschko name in the heavyweight division, or even Povetkin?
Well, first of all, just to go back to what you're saying about Haymaker, and Coldwell Boxing. Listen, I'm at the beginning, and I've got lots and lots to catch up on before I start putting on world heavyweight title fights. So Haymaker, we did we did do a lot. It was exciting while we had the television deal, but then they lost TV, and then that made it a totally different entity. So there's I appreciate what you're saying, and that's,
there's no disrespect to you. You built them. Yeah, no, Dave, that's no disrespect to you.
Well, I was a part of it. So but that's all. It's all in the past. There's nothing there now, and it's just all about what I'm doing and what I'm wanting to build with Coldwell Boxing. Now going back to David himself, first of all, I see the Manuel Char fight very similar to the John Ruiz fight. I think David will find a home for his right hand very early doors, and I think it'll be a case of how tough Char is to us, how long the fight will last for. So I see nothing other than a David A stoppage win on that fight. Do I see him as a threat to Povetkin and the other guys out there and the Klitschko? Povetkin, yes. Vitaly, yes. I think he beats Vitaly now because I think Vitaly is basically his body's falling to bits. It's a little bit like a Martinez where his age is now catching upon him, and it's a case of who's the right man at the right place at the right time. So I do think that David would beat Vitaly now. Vladimir, being honest with you, unless Vladimir's legs slow right up, I don't know. I don't know if David could beat him because obviously he's got that one punch chance, but Vladimir is that good at shutting you down. I think the one thing that surprised David when he fought him last time was just how fast and how good Vlad's legs are in retreat. It reads your movement that you're going to set an attack. He'll take his feet back quickly, and then the sheer size of the man makes it so hard to close him down. So the fact that he's ultra negative as well, and he won't commit, makes it even harder to catch him with a good counter. So I'm not sure that he could beat Vladimir when Vladimir's on top of his game. But the rest of the guys, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there's going to be some exciting nights. I'll tell you what's going to be a very exciting time is if say, for instance, David A fights, Tyson Fury, if he fights David Price, if those guys keep improving, because they're the next crop that's coming up, very fast behind him. So, at least we're in. The thing is about chucking David A back into the mix, you're talking about the heavyweight division again, and you're talking exciting fights again. The one thing is he is exciting, and the one thing that the Klitschko's are, not being disrespectful to them, they're fantastic at what they do, but they're sending the heavyweight division to sleep.
And that's true. I mean, look, the heavyweight division, as for so many years, have been about excitement. I think the Klitschko's they changed it around. Dave, I don't want to hog everything. I know my co-host Elliot Vasquez-Torres is here. We're in studio. I don't know who else are the other co-hosts that are around the country, if they're still on the line right now. I don't have an engineer working this evening. But Elliot Vasquez-Torres, I know he wanted to speak to you about some of these upcoming fights coming out here. I know this weekend we got a guy coming from the UK, got a pretty good triple header going down this weekend. Elliot, you still with us, my man?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, Dave, what's going on?
How you doing, mate?
I want to talk to you about good. I want to talk about your stable of fighters. You have a pretty good young fighters. You got Anthony Havons. I'm not sure if he debuted yet. You also have Matthew Clarkson and Liam Conroy. Can you talk a little bit about these up and coming guys, the guys that we should look out for in England?
Yeah, you know what? I'm really proud of the stable that we're building, because we look long term. It's not about now and what we're doing now. It's about let's have a look in 18 months' time, a year's time, 3 years' time. I've got a nucleus of fighters that are quite exciting. At super bantamweight, we've got a guy called Liam Hanran. He's 3-0 with 3 stoppages, but he doesn't load up on his punches. He's just stopping guys and dropping guys just by letting his punches flow. He's a very good talent. It's extremely hard for super bantamweight, and he's only a young guy at 22 years old. So I'm really excited about him. We have Liam Conroy, who, if you look at his record, is 3 wins, 1 loss. But his 1 loss wasn't a loss. I mean, you can go on my app, and if you look at the Gilson DeJesus fight, he got beat on points, but everybody had him 4-2 up on it in a 6-rounder. But again, it was a really good learning fight for him, and it's something that's made him a better fighter. We've got guys like Chad Gainer, Nav Mansouri. They're good prospects. Nav Mansouri is now on the verge of title fights. He's fighting for title this weekend. Chad's maybe 1, maybe 2 fights away. He's an exciting fighter. But then, we took Matty Clarkson out to South Africa. He fought the South African champion on the undercard of Matthew Hatton's world title fight with Van Heerden, and he knocked the guy out over there. He's now ready to progress to the next level. But then we've made a few signings this summer, this winter, that I'm very excited about. I've got a guy called Robbie Davis Jr. Now, his father fought in the Olympics. I think it was 76 Montreal Olympics. And he's a very good kid, a very, very good kid. He's a kid that I think he's got star quality. And I think he's a kid that could, go all the way to fight and win a world title. Now, that's a big statement, because I don't make those kind of statements about my kids. But this is a kid that I think's got a little bit something special. So I'm really excited about him. I've got a kid called Junior Jones, Stephen Jones Jr., where his boxing name will change to Junior Jones, obviously. He's an exciting young kid as well. So we got some really good talent coming through. So I wouldn't swap these kids. I've got a nucleus of 7 kids where I would. Okay, they're not on television shows, so the wider public don't know about them. But I wouldn't swap these kids with anybody else. I'm very excited about these kids that are coming through.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously did notice that you start them from from the beginning all the way to right where they're going to do championship fights and beyond, and that's sometimes is very rare for a promoter to do that. So I commend you on that. Another question I have for you: is there anything, if anything, that you do different than these other English promoters like Frank Warren, Frank Maloney, Hennessy Sports? Something that you do a little different to maybe put something fresh in the air than just doing or saying the same old thing?
Well, to be honest, the only thing is I don't really look at what other guys are doing. I'm only bothered about what's happening with my fighters, what's happening with my fans that come to watch our shows. The people that come in through the doors on our shows, the people that tune into Coldwell television. I'm only bothered about those people and whether they're happy. If they're happy with what I'm doing, then I'm happy with it. However anybody else wants to put on their shows and do the shows, I'm not really looking at that. The only thing that I would say that maybe perhaps I do a little bit different to others is that I try and I promote through the eyes of a fan. If it's a fight that I try and go with the main fight. Obviously, listen, when you've got a young kid, for me, first 5 fights, you're kind of giving them gimme fights, just let them settle in. But after that, I like to take the old plates off a little bit and let them progress. But when it comes to the main fights, I want to sit down in my seat and watch it and be excited as a fan. If I'm not interested in watching a fight, then I don't want to make that fight, if you know what I mean. Because I won't want to make a fight that I'm not interested in watching. Simple as that, really, to be honest. And I suppose maybe that's something that maybe a few promoters don't really look at. But that's just the way that works.
Well, obviously, us here in ATG are looking at you guys very closely. I think, Coldwell Promotions Boxing, great promotion. We are on the lookout, and we wish you the best of luck and continue with the good work.
Dave,
thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Dave, Elliot, this is I got to break Elliot's balls. I'm going to be breaking Elliot's balls 10 times a show from now on. We've got to bring it like Elliot. Obviously, you and I, we usually have the same prediction. That's why Elliot Vasquez-Torres, even though I break his balls, Dave, him and I, we have the same mind as far as predictions and which fighters have goods, the goods. And in this case, I love this weekend. What's going down this weekend here in Atlantic City, New Jersey, in the United States? You got one of your own from the United Kingdom coming out here to challenge for a world title. But not just that, we have another world title from an Argentinian facing one of the top guys here in the U.S. in a unification bout. And I wanted to talk about that with you, if you don't mind, get your opinions on these fights going down this weekend. First and foremost, let's talk about Lamont Peterson, Lucas Matisse, two of the top 5 guys at 140 pounds. If I'm not mistaken, there's 2 belts on the line, or just the eye. Oh no, it's wow. Okay, this is the weird thing. It's at a catch weight at 141 pounds, so no titles are on the line.
Yeah, what's that about?
That makes no friggin' sense.
It's because
that makes no sense.
I can explain it because I was actually on the conference call earlier today, and their explanation was that the IBF didn't want to do a unification with the interim, with the other interim belt, so therefore they're doing it at catch weight of 41. Does it make sense? To me, no, but I guess it makes sense to them, and that's why they're doing it. They didn't want to unify it with an interim belt. The IBF didn't.
Well, regardless of what belts are on the line, I think it's a great fight. It really is a great fight. Do you know what? Who do I think will win? I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 fight. You'd probably say that Peterson's probably a little bit. I would say he's probably got a few more tools in the box, but Matisse, apart from being a puncher, he can box a little. So I'm probably gonna side a little bit with him, to be honest. I think he's gonna pull it off. I think most people I've spoke to have kind of leant towards Peterson, but I'm gonna go with the guy. I'm gonna go with Matisse for myself for this one.
I don't know. The thing is like as Dave, I say on this show week after week, anytime Lucas Matisse's name gets brought up, everybody that usually it's the consensus, the majority of the people that talk about him, a lot of people get out of line and they say stuff like Lucas Matisse is the best fight, can beat anybody from 140 pounds to 100, which I think is bogus because of the simple fact, he's good. He's a good fighter. Yeah. This is as a critic. This is as a guy who's never stepped in a ring as a professional, Dave. But as a critic, I say Lucas Matisse, if he was as good as they say he was, he would have beaten Zab Judah. Because I'd say, like, yes, the guys that clearly beat Zab Judah, and there's been quite a few of them in the past, have gone on to become all-time greats. You know what I'm saying? In boxing. Obviously, Lucas Matisse lost a split decision, I believe it was. Maybe a majority decision, I'm not sure. But he didn't beat him. Obviously, you have to do enough, no matter if the judges are corrupted or not. You have to do enough to beat him. But Zab Judah's a guy, if he was the most feared fighter, like everybody says, Zab Judah, guy's been knocked out quite a few times before. He'd had a little bit more trouble. And then Devin Alexander. You know, it's coincidentally he's fighting on the same card later in the evening. Lucas Matisse did not beat Devin Alexander. I watched that fight, a draw. I wouldn't have argued, but I thought Devin Alexander, even though he was dropped for the first time in his career, it was a close fight. And the unpopular, the not so popular, the popular fighter who fought in his hometown, people are going to look at the least popular guy and say, oh, he should have won because he wasn't the popular guy. We get that all the time. A lot of people look at that. They see fights that are close, and the guy who's more popular than the other gets the flack, while the least popular guy gets the praise. It's happened in boxing. Close fights happen. We don't believe. Are you behind it? Dave Coldwell, are you behind the hype train that is Lucas Matisse? Even though I know you picked him in a close fight, you're not sure?
No, I don't. Listen, I don't think, I'm not saying that I think he's a great fighter. I'm not saying he's a great fighter, but I don't think that Peterson's a great fighter. I think these are two good fighters. You know, good, not great. And also styles make fights. Listen, the two fighters that you just named, what are they? The slick southpaws. You know, so maybe he has a problem with that.
Yeah, you're right. That's a lot of these guys have the southpaws, but I get it's the same thing. I just before people start, he's the most dangerous guy. You know, I hate to, you know, it don't get on my nerves, but I just like to be confrontational. Dave, let's go into the next one. You know, Lee Purdy. Lee Purdy's coming over here. Over the past, I think, 2 years, UK fighters coming over here fighting for world titles have not had the best luck. And Lee Purdy fall into that category?
I think I'll be honest with you, I hope he wins the fight. Purdy can punch. One thing he can do is he can punch. And he's a very, very strong kid. But I think the look that he's got is actually getting the crack at the world title. I don't think he'll get much luck on the night. I just think styles make fights, and I just don't think that he's good enough and he's quick enough to catch up with Alexander, unfortunately. If I was to say with my heart, then I'd say, yeah, I think Purdy win, but no, you got to go with your brain. And I think that his style is made for Devin Alexander to look good. But I would just love for Purdy to get in there and land a few of his bombs and just to, give a good account of himself.
I'm with you. I agree 100%. Dave, I got to say this too, man. I'm a huge fan of British boxing. I'm a huge fan. I think matches are great. I'm jealous of the fans. I'm jealous sometimes of the atmosphere.
We have the best fans in the world.
I agree.
Listen, the UK, like a lot of places in the world at the moment, the UK has not got much money. The majority of the people over here are absolutely skint. They're struggling for money, but yet whenever we put on boxing events, they turn out. The crowds are just unbelievable, and they make noise. I love the fact that the UK crowds are atmospheric and they show passion, and they love the boxing. And I think the best fans in the world for that. And you can't beat them. You just can't beat them for the passion that they're showing there. And it's great that we're having some success. We always keep. We're only a small island, but we keep turning out some good fighters, some great fighters, and some world champions.
And that's the one thing. That's why you mentioned the atmosphere, and I got to give to the British boxing fans that listen to this show. That's why we do it. You guys are by far right now. You got the lock. You guys don't have Floyd Mayweather. we got Floyd Mayweather. That's our only argument. I think in this case we have some talented fighters, but easily by far the best fans in the world belong to the UK. And I want to ask one more question. We kind of went over the fights that are going to go down this weekend. I know there's some more fights. I can't get the schedule up, but let's say it like this, Dave. Not necessarily one of your fighters, right? If you can play fantasy promoter, fantasy matchmaker, and match one of the top UK guys to come over here to the United States to beat one of the top U.S. world champions here, who would you pick? The obviously active fighters right now. Like, you got Ricky Burns over in Scotland. Would you send him over? You got a lot of world champions. You got Carl Froch, one of the number 2 super middleweight in the world. To send one of the best over in the UK in a division to come over and face one of the best in the US in a particular division. If you could think offhand right now, who would you pick to send over here to beat one of the top guys in the US?
Do you know what? That's a tough question because I tell you what, I'd love to. I think he's an exciting fighter. I love to watch him. Is Adrian Broner. I love to watch Adrian Broner. I think he's so exciting, but I would love to see him put on his arse. I really would, because of his attitude. I really would. But unfortunately, he is super talented. I don't. You know what?
How about Kell Brook or Amir Khan for Broner? Would you feel would you feel comfortable sending one of them against him over here?
Do you know what? I suppose you've got to look at the fact that, Broner's coming up in through the weights. I mean, it's all right in fighting Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie Malignaggi is talented and he's slick, but Malignaggi is, he's slowing down a little bit, and he's never been the biggest puncher in the world, so it's quite a safe option to come up power-wise. Broner stepping up and fighting guys that can punch at welterweight, that's a different matter. I can't see him. I don't actually see him staying at the higher weights. Whereas Mayweather came up through the weight divisions and dominated all the way through the weight divisions, Floyd Mayweather, because he's not as entertaining as Broner in the respect that he's not as exciting because he doesn't take as many chances. Broner gets hit. He likes to model himself on Mayweather, and he mimics a lot of the stuff of Mayweather, but he hasn't got the Mayweather defense. So Broner does get hit. So I can't see him if he goes up through the weight divisions. I can't see him staying unbeaten if he fights the best guys out there. I think he needs to stay at the lighter end. In order to dominate, because he is exciting, and when you're an exciting fighter, you leave yourself more vulnerable to get hit. Amir Khan's an exciting fighter because he gets hit, and when he gets hit, you see a reaction. But if he was just to stick to his pure boxing, there's not many guys out there that could beat Amir Khan if he just hit and moved and didn't get involved. Whatever you think about Khan, is that he's an exciting. He's talent-wise, he's very, very talented, and he's very, very fast. But it's the fact that he engages and he gets hit that makes him exciting. Who would I like for Britain? I would love for Carl Froch to go over and beat Andre Ward in a rematch, but do I think that would happen? To be honest, no. I think Ward's at another level. But that'd be the one that I would really like, to be honest.
I see that. I would prefer, what we have with Ward. Ward's one of the most talented fighters on the planet, period. I would much prefer him to go over there to fight Froch in a rematch. I think, we've seen that, they fought in Atlantic City. It wasn't a packed house. Yeah. And you have to go a different, you have to go a different route. They go over there. They go over to the UK.
Listen, the thing about Andre Ward, he can be one of the most elite fighters in the world and super talented and everything. But the fact is, he doesn't put bums on seats. So when he's wanting things to happen for him, he's not going to make the serious bucks, because nobody really cares when he fights, to be honest. They're not caring enough to tune in or to pay the dollars to come and watch him box. So realistically, the biggest fight out there for Andre Ward is to come over to the UK and fight Carl Froch, without a doubt.
Capital FM Arena, bring him to Nottingham, and that's a point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
exactly. I just think he is extremely talented.
That's the difference between English boxing fans and American boxing fans, is that over in England, these guys, they pack stadiums, and over in America, you can't even pack a 5,000 seat arenas, you know. And
Elliot, there were still 100, almost 200 tickets left for the Mayweather fight last week. There were still 200 tickets left for sale that did not sell. I mean, that tells you, you know, even our most popular fighter, the highest paid athlete in the world, still doesn't completely sell out. It wasn't a complete sellout. You know what I mean? That tells you that there.
Just look at when Ricky Hanna used to come over to Vegas. I mean, there was like at least 15,000 people watching the fights all around Vegas, and not including inside the arena.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the whole difference. Yeah, just to be there, the atmosphere.
You know, the Brits back the fighters. The Brits back the fighters 100%. Like you say, Andre Ward, if he was British, you know, everybody would be backing him. You know, he's
gold medalist.
He's the best in the business. You know, so I think the thing when you said about the Mayweather fight not selling completely out, I'll be honest with you. Out of all the Mayweather fights that have been recently, that was the one that I was least excited about, because although I like Robert Guerrero and you know, his story is fantastic and everything, I knew he was on a different level to Mayweather. He without a doubt going into that fight, it wasn't, you know, I never thought for 1 minute that Mayweather would have any problem with him. You know, you're talking about totally different levels, and I think maybe a lot of people wasn't, you know, maybe they weren't buying into the hype when they were trying to sell the show. You know, because a lot of people probably know boxing and probably figured, well, this is going to be this is going to be a fight that Mayweather's going to win and win quite comfortably. I know it actually surprised me that the amount of people that were saying that Guerrero was going to win. I was quite surprised with that.
Well, they do that. They do that every time. I mean, look, that's what the TV is all for. You know, that's what entertainment's all for. They try to sell you the event. You know, it's obvious.
Well, to be honest, I'll be honest with you. For the last couple of years, Mayweather, to me, looked like his legs weren't the same. And the only thing that I thought was, well, obviously, if his legs aren't the same, then AG's catching up on him. And then, you know, he is getting it more. So maybe Guerrero's got a chance there of mauling him and turn it into a Castillo type of fight. And that was the one fact I was thinking. But then you see him on fight night, he got the legs of a 20-year-old. For me, that was the most impressive thing about that fight, was that his legs were absolutely fantastic. And if Floyd Mayweather's got his legs back, and the next time he's not in against a southpaw where he doesn't feel comfortable in throwing his shots, then you've got Floyd Mayweather hanging around for quite a long time to come, I believe.
I totally agree. I thought his legs were shot after the Cotto fight, and I thought that Mayweather would still win that fight, but by hair. But then I saw his, you know, and his legs came back, you know, and so it's I guess it's maybe it has to do with his loss.
Just to show you with the trainer, you know, working with his dad, you know, just to show you with the trainers that you've got, you know, some trainers are better at certain things than others, you know, and the fact that he brought them two together in order to make the adjustments that he felt that he needed, you know, because obviously Floyd Mayweather don't want to be getting hit, because Floyd Mayweather doesn't get hit, and for him to bring his dad on board, you saw the results there in one fight.
And it was you know, we'll see what's next. Floyd promises the fight, you know, 5 more times in the next 30 months or so. We'll see what that. Dave, look, man, this is what happens. We call, you know, we bring you on the show thinking, 15, 20 minutes. You know, proper time to bring a guest on. We go double that time. Dave, we got to ask you this, man. We know you always say no problem anytime, but we got to bring you on here sooner than later. We know you got some events coming up in June to return. Now, I got to ask you final question. Matthew Hatton is coming back in June on one of your cards.
No, he's not. He's out until September. He's had a niggling injury since the Kell Brook fight. So we need to see if that can heal up properly. So he's off the June bill. The June bill's a fantastic bill, because we got Craig Watson against David Barnes in a real grudge match in Old Manchester Derby. So that's a good fight, that is.
That's like I said. There you go, Coldwell boxing back. 2 weeks later, after 4 days from now, after this weekend, you're back 2 weeks.
And then a week after that, we're back a week after that as well.
Bring the noise, new kids on the dock. Listen, guys, check everybody listening to the show. Go to coldwellboxing.com. Great website. You get to learn pretty much everything you need to know about David Coldwell Boxing. If you're on, what's it called? You got an iPhone, you got an iPad, you got a tablet. Download Coldwell Television app. It's free fight, great fights. I'll tell you like this, great fights. Some of my favorite fights. Big shout out to Kieran Vicious Farrell. Big shout out to David Coldwell for what you've done for him. We know he's going to be back. He's going to be back in some, whether it's one of the best trainers in the game. In his head, he knows he's going to come back and step inside the ring. Let's hope all signs go the way they need to go for Kieran Farrell. What a great kid, great mind. I was talking to him a few days ago, and you have no choice but to love the guy. So he's a great guy.
No, he's some character. The game needs characters, and he's a great character. And I think he'll make I think he'll make a very, very good trainer.
I agree. I think he's going to be one of the best out there, and you've done all that for him with the function you had last month to raise money, and I know he's got his gym getting ready to go full-fledged and open up and start training fighters. But Dave, ColdwellBoxing.com, the Coldwell app on Android, iPhone, all tablets, iPads, stuff like that. Check it out. It's free. It doesn't even take up much space on your gigabytes on your phone. So check it out. It's free. At David Coldwell on Twitter. Follow him.
If you need to ask any info about it, just get me in touch with me.
You give your thoughts. You may agree. You may disagree with him. Go. Confront him about it. Go on there. Start a conflict with David Coldwell. I think he's always up for it. Very intellectual, very intelligent, one of the best promoters in the game. And like I said, in about a year, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, I don't know. Frank Warren's seen better days, but, Frank Warren always bounces back. These guys better watch out. There's a new kid on the block. No pun intended. The new kids on the dock in June.
That's a good plug. Well done. That's a good plug. That one. I like that.
No,
listen, there's enough. Listen, there's enough boxing around for us all to be able to be successful. I want to work with all the promoters and hopefully we can all make great fights. That's the only way that the game keeps entertaining is if promoters work together rather than seeing each other as rivals. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We can get up there and start making some big fights with the other guys.
That's you leave it up for us. We're the ones who can be we can choose sides and say who's better. David Coldwell, obviously, we wish Golden Boy and Top Rank would work together here in the States. We all see how that goes.
True.
But Dave, we appreciate your time, man. We got to get you back on here real soon. Talk some more boxing with you. We're gonna probably have to do an entire 2-hour show with you the next time because this is how it goes. But Dave, we appreciate it, my man, and look forward to talking to you again.
Man. Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, brother. Thanks.